Have you ever felt that you see things others cannot? Have you ever carried the weight of noticing hidden truths that most people would rather look away from? And have you ever wondered if this deeper vision is truly a gift or a silent burden? Welcome to this space of healing, a place where we allow ourselves to pause, to reflect, and to face the deeper questions of existence. Here, every word, every silence is an invitation to return to yourself and discover the strength that lies within. Today, we will explore a rare and profound danger, the danger of seeing what others do not. Carl Jung believed that the ability to perceive hidden layers of reality is both a blessing and a trial. It grants clarity, yet it separates you from the comfort of illusion that many choose to live in. Think about it. Have you ever spoken a truth you thought was clear, only to be met with disbelief, dismissal, or even hostility? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and seen past the mask they wore, and then realized how lonely that vision could feel? If so, you already know the weight Jung spoke of. But stay with me until the end, because together we will uncover not only why this deeper sight can feel dangerous, but also how to carry it with resilience, compassion, and wisdom, so it transforms from an isolating burden into a guiding light. And in the coming reflections, we will continue to journey into the wisdom Jung left for us, finding pathways to wholeness and authentic being. Before we begin, let me ask you, do you recognize yourself in this? Do you feel that sometimes you see more than others and carry that vision alone? If so, share your reflections in the comments below. You may discover that your story is exactly what another soul needs to hear. Jung's warning about deeper vision. Carl Jung once warned that not everyone is ready to face the truth. Reality exists in layers. On the surface lie the familiar and the acceptable, but deeper down are the shadows, complex, painful, and filled with contradictions that most people would rather avoid. Those who are sensitive enough to see through these masks carry a very particular experience, one that feels like clarity, but also profound loneliness. Jung called this the collective shadow. It is the place where all the unacknowledged parts of humanity are stored: selfishness, anger, envy, desire, fear. When you have the ability to perceive this shadow, you can no longer easily blend into ordinary patterns of living. You know that behind a smile, there may be pretense. Behind social norms, there may be repression. And behind the illusion of stability, there may be fractures that no one dares to name. This is not comfortable. For when you speak about what you see, others may deny it, or even turn against you. Instead of feeling grateful for your insight, they feel threatened, exposed. And so, those with deeper vision often find themselves misunderstood, isolated, or cast aside. Jung reminded us that clarity almost always walks hand in hand with solitude. For the more light you bring into the darkness, the stronger the darkness resists. Yet it is precisely within this solitude that the seed of growth begins to sprout. When you stop trying to look away, when you have the courage to face what is real, you begin to see that this vision is not a burden, but an invitation to self-discovery. Ask yourself, has there ever been a moment when you saw a truth within your family, at work, or in society, yet chose silence because you knew speaking it would make you an outsider? Have you ever felt as though you were living at a different frequency, seeing cracks in the walls that others still believe are solid? If so, you are already walking the path of what Jung would call the one who awakens before the darkness. And here lies Jung's warning. Deeper vision can bring suffering if you are unprepared, but it can also become your greatest strength if you learn to hold it with wisdom. Do not deny this gift, and do not use it as a weapon against the world. Instead, Learn to let it shine as a light that guides, first yourself, and then those who are ready to be illuminated by your presence. To see what others cannot see comes with a price. Jung understood this deeply, and perhaps you do too. The cost of clarity is often loneliness, alienation, and misunderstanding. It is the strange feeling of standing in a crowd, yet sensing you do not fully belong there, because you perceive the cracks in the foundation that others refuse to notice. When you see too much, you cannot unsee. Once you glimpse the hidden motives, the unspoken fears, the subtle manipulations that flow beneath the surface of daily life, you carry a weight that others do not. This is why many people who awaken to deeper truths report feeling as though they live on the edge of society, neither fully inside nor fully outside, but somewhere in between, an observer, a witness, sometimes even an exile. Jung knew that those who pierce the veil of illusion often suffer because their clarity disrupts the collective comfort. People generally prefer illusions that keep them safe, even if those illusions are false. So when you bring forward a truth, it shakes the fragile order, and the messenger is often blamed. This is one reason why visionaries, mystics, and truth seekers across history have lived lives of both reverence and rejection, respected by some, feared or hated by others. The cost of clarity is also internal conflict. Part of you longs to belong, to blend in, to rest in the warmth of shared illusions. Another part of you knows you cannot betray what you have seen. And so, a tension arises within the soul. Do you speak the truth and risk isolation, or do you remain silent and suffer the weight of your own knowledge? Neither path is easy. Both demand sacrifice. But here lies the paradox. While clarity isolates, it also deepens you. To endure misunderstanding, to stand firm in solitude, is to cultivate resilience that few ever develop. Jung would remind us that individuation, the process of becoming your true self, often requires this very separation from the herd. It is the painful but necessary step of no longer being able to hide in the collective shadow. Ask yourself, have you ever felt that your honesty cost you relationships, or that your insight created distance between you and those you love? Have you ever wrestled with the inner conflict of silence versus truth? If you have, then you have tasted the cost of clarity, and though it hurts, it is also shaping you, sculpting you into someone stronger, more authentic, more aligned with your own soul. For clarity is never free. It demands courage. It asks you to walk roads less traveled, to endure seasons of solitude. But, in return, it offers something priceless. A life lived in truth, no longer bound by illusions. And in that truth, even though you may walk alone, you walk with the quiet strength of one who has seen. You transforming the burden into strength. Jung never said that the burden of deeper vision should be denied or escaped. Instead, he believed that the very weight of what you see is what can shape you, refine you, and lead you toward your authentic self. The loneliness, the alienation, the inner conflict, all of these are invitations to transformation. The first step is acceptance. Many people who see more than others try to resist this gift, wishing they could return to ignorance, longing for the comfort of illusions. But the path forward begins only when you accept that your sensitivity, your perception, is not a flaw, but a calling. Like a finely tuned instrument, your awareness resonates with subtleties others miss. When you stop cursing this gift and begin honoring it, it slowly transforms from burden into strength. The second step is integration. Instead of being crushed by the truths you see, you learn to carry them with balance. You no longer feel the need to shout them into every conversation or convince others to see as you do. Rather, you cultivate silence, patience, and discernment. You realize that clarity doesn't demand constant expression, it demands wise timing. And in that wisdom, your burden becomes lighter because you understand that not every truth is ready to be heard. The third step is solitude as nourishment. What once felt like exile becomes sacred space. Alone, you discover inner depths that companionship often distracts you from. Solitude ceases to be a punishment and becomes a sanctuary, a place where your own soul can breathe. In this transformation, you find that loneliness is simply solitude that has not yet ripened into wisdom. And finally, there is service. Jung believed that those who see deeper are not meant to keep that vision for themselves. When you learn to carry your clarity with compassion, you naturally become a quiet guide for others, not by forcing, not by preaching, but by living authentically. People will feel the steadiness in your presence, the calm in your eyes, and they will sense the light you carry. Ask yourself, what if your isolation has been preparing you not to withdraw from the world, but to serve it with greater strength? What if the nights of solitude were forging within you a resilience that others could one day lean on? The truth is this: the very burden that once threatened to break you is the same force that can make you unshakable. By embracing your gift, by carrying it with humility, you are transformed. And in that transformation, your clarity ceases to isolate. It begins to illuminate. And living as a quiet guide. There is a truth that few recognize. Those who see deeper, those who perceive more than others, are rarely chosen by destiny to be loud preachers. They are instead chosen to be quiet guides. Carl Jung spoke often of this, of people who carry a special light, not to dazzle the crowd, but to illuminate silently, like a small lantern leading the way through the dark. A quiet guide does not seek attention. They do not need the stage or the applause. What they do is live fully aligned with their inner truth, and that authentic life itself becomes a lighthouse for those around them. Jung believed that the greatest transformation never comes from speeches or arguments, but from the power of presence, the way someone lives, breathes, acts, and moves in the world. All of it radiates a certain energy that others can feel. In Eastern philosophy, this image is vivid. It is said, "Sitting in stillness is itself the teaching. Silence itself is the sermon." A Zen master needs no words. The calm of his posture is enough to awaken something in the disciple. In the West, we see Socrates, who never wrote down his philosophy, but through dialogue, questions, and simply the way he lived, left an immortal imprint on countless minds. A quiet guide carries humility. They understand that truth cannot be forced. It can only be awakened. A seed, if it is not in season, will not sprout no matter how much water or sunlight you give it. But when the time is right, it unfolds effortlessly. The quiet guide knows this, and so they wait with patience. At the right moment, just a nod, a sentence, or even a single look can ignite awakening in another soul. This path, however, is not easy. Quiet guides often face great trials, loneliness, because few can truly resonate with them, misunderstanding, because not everyone is ready for the truth, and long seasons of waiting, because awakening cannot be rushed. Yet these very challenges are what shape them, making them deeper, steadier, and more resilient. Do you see yourself in this image? Have you ever felt unable to live inauthentically, unwilling to follow the crowd, even if it meant feeling out of place? Have you noticed that sometimes, without saying much at all, simply through your calm presence, you brought comfort or clarity to someone who needed it? Jung called this the power of the individuated self, a person who has returned to their authentic being. Such a person does not need to persuade or prove anything. Their very existence is the lesson, a silent invitation for others to step into their own truth. And this is the message for you. You do not need to be grand or famous to be significant. If you can live authentically, courageously aligned with your inner self, you are already a quiet guide. Perhaps you don't even realize it, but your light, your steadiness, may already be the anchor for someone struggling in the dark. Remember, even a single candle can light an entire room. Even a quiet step can open a path for the lost. And it may be that you, by the simplicity of living true to yourself, are planting seeds of light in a world that desperately needs more of it. The shadow as a teacher. For most of us, the word shadow suggests something to be feared. Darkness, repression, the parts of life we would rather not touch. Yet Jung insisted on something revolutionary. The shadow is not merely an enemy to be conquered, it is also a teacher. A quiet, relentless teacher that points us toward what is unfinished within ourselves. The shadow contains everything we deny or repress: anger, envy, selfishness, desire, fear. But it also contains untapped vitality, creativity, and strength. What we hide in shame may be the very resource we need to become whole. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." In other words, the shadow is not here to destroy you. It is here to guide you, if you dare to face it. Think of the shadow as a mirror. Every time you feel an unreasonable irritation toward another person, every time you overreact to something small, every time you judge harshly without knowing why, that is your shadow speaking. It is showing you something unresolved within yourself. Instead of condemning it, you can pause and ask, what is this reaction trying to teach me? What is it revealing about who I am? Jung believed that integrating the shadow is the key to individuation, the process of becoming our authentic self. Without shadow work, we live only half a life, presenting a polished mask to the world while our deeper truths remain hidden. But when we accept the shadow, when we allow it to teach us, we expand. We become more real, more grounded, more human. There are countless ways the shadow teaches. The anger you repress may teach you where your boundaries truly lie. The envy you feel may teach you about desires you have ignored. The fear that haunts you may teach you what truly matters to your soul. Even the selfish impulses you deny may teach you about the need to care for yourself more honestly. The shadow, in its own paradoxical way, is always trying to restore balance. Of course, this teaching is rarely gentle. The shadow does not speak in polite whispers. It often confronts us through conflict, breakdown, or crisis. It may appear as a failed relationship, an illness, or a deep sense of emptiness. These moments, though painful, are invitations. They force us to stop, to turn inward, and to listen to what we have long ignored. Ask yourself, what has your shadow been trying to teach you? Is there a pattern that keeps repeating in your life? A wound that refuses to heal? A fear that keeps resurfacing? Instead of pushing it away again, what if you approached it as a teacher? What wisdom might be hiding beneath the discomfort? Jung's message is clear. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your companion on the path of growth. To walk with it is to learn humility, compassion, and resilience. To deny it is to remain fragmented, cut off from your own depth. And so, the next time you encounter your shadow, do not turn away in fear. Sit with it. Listen. Let it show you what you have yet to learn. For in the end, the shadow is not here to destroy you. It is here to complete you. Walking the path of individuation. At the very heart of Carl Jung's thought lies the concept of individuation. It is the lifelong journey of returning to the true self, of peeling away masks, social roles, and illusions to become fully and authentically who we are. Jung once wrote, "Individuation does not make you perfect, it makes you whole." So what does individuation mean? First, it is the process of bringing together the fragments within us, the conscious ego, the shadow, the personal unconscious, the collective unconscious, the masculine and the feminine energies of the psyche. These parts often clash and conflict. Individuation is not about erasing or suppressing them, but about learning to let them coexist in balance, woven into a greater harmony. You can imagine individuation as a great tree. At first, it is only a small seed. Then it grows roots, pushes up a trunk, and spreads its branches. The roots are the past, the unconscious, the collective heritage we carry. The trunk is the present ego where we stand and experience life. The branches and leaves are the future, the potential yet to unfold. Only when root, trunk, and crown are connected can the tree be truly alive. In the same way, a human being becomes whole only when past, present, and potential come together as one. But the path of individuation is not easy. It requires us to confront our shadow, the dark corners of fear, pain, and imperfection that we once denied. It demands that we let go of the illusion that we are only our social identities: mother, father, employee, leader. Jung believed that behind all these roles, there is a deeper self waiting to be recognized. And only when it is recognized do we become free. Individuation also calls for the courage to step away from the herd. Humanity has always lived within collective values, tradition, religion, culture. But true growth requires a solitary step beyond the comfort of belonging to face the ultimate question: who am I? Do you feel such a calling within you? A subtle, quiet pull that urges you to search, to question, to walk a path, even when no one else around you seems to be walking it? If so, that is the voice of individuation speaking. What is essential to remember is this: individuation is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey. It does not unfold in a single day or a single year. It reveals itself through experiences, losses, discoveries, and each moment you dare to live more truthfully. Every time you are honest with your emotions, every time you face your shadow, every time you refuse to live a lie, you take one more step along the path. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that you no longer live under the tyranny of needing to be like others, nor do you chase illusions outside yourself. You stand firmly in your own being, and from that center, you radiate calm and strength to those around you. Individuation, at its deepest essence, is the art of coming home to yourself. And perhaps it is the most sacred journey each of us is invited to walk in this lifetime. We have traveled together through a long path, through the danger of deeper vision, the cost of clarity, the burden of isolation, and the possibility of transforming all of it into inner strength. We have seen the shadow not as an enemy, but as a teacher, and we have glimpsed the sacred journey of individuation, the art of becoming whole. What does this all mean for you, here and now? Perhaps it means simply this: that the struggles you face, the loneliness you carry, the truths that set you apart are not signs that you are broken. They are invitations. They are the whispers of your soul urging you to walk toward your authentic self. Yes, it is not an easy road. You may lose the comfort of belonging. You may endure silence, misunderstanding, and nights of solitude. But within that silence, a new strength is born. Within that solitude, you meet yourself more deeply than ever before. And in that meeting, you begin to discover that you were never truly alone. For the same light that burns within you has always been present in others, waiting to be awakened. If there is one thing Jung wanted us to remember, it is this: the goal of life is not perfection, but wholeness. To become whole is to accept both your light and your shadow, your joy and your pain, your strength and your vulnerability. It is to stand as a full human being, unafraid of your own depths. So as we close this reflection, I invite you to carry these questions with you. Where is your shadow trying to teach you? What truths are waiting to be spoken in your life? And how might your authenticity become a quiet light for those around you? If these words have resonated with you, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. Your reflections may be the mirror someone else needs in their own journey. And if you wish to continue walking together through the wisdom of Jung, the Stoics, and the timeless voices of healing philosophy, I invite you to stay with this space of reflection and stillness. Above all, I leave you with this blessing. May you find courage in your solitude, wisdom in your shadow, and peace in your journey toward wholeness. May your inner light, however quiet, shine brightly enough to guide both yourself and those who walk beside you. And remember, nothing you see too deeply, nothing you feel too strongly, is ever wasted. It is all part of the path. It is all part of becoming fully, beautifully, authentically you.